Hey friends, welcome to today's Pick a Card Tarot reading. So today we are going to be doing a reading that's revolving around the full moon that's coming up on, looking behind me as if there's a calendar and there isn't one. It's on Monday the 20th or 30th, it's on Monday. You look it up. It's the end of November, and it is the full moon, and it is in Sagittarius. Sorry, it's in Gemini. But also what's happened is that a week before the full moon, we entered into the zodiac season of Sagittarius. And that has already happened by the time that you're watching this video. But since we are in Sagittarius, we're going to be looking at sort of what the full moon means for you, what this period is, connecting it in, and then just some general messages for you too that are coming in at this moment. Full moons tend to be all about releasing things, so I'm expecting to see these readings having something to do with releasing something. And I got a horn from outside, so that means a little bit of confirmation from our guides. So there are 3 different piles for you to choose from today. We have pile number 1, which has this Swedish horse. We have pile number 2 that has these 3 white stones. And then we have pile number 3, which has this pig from Chile. Pretty cute little ceramic pig. So once again, that's pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. Down below in the description section of this video, you will find the link to your reading. So tune in on that. Thanks. Hey there, pile number 1. You chose this reading with the cool little Swedish horse there. Little guy. He's fun. Comes from Sweden. So we'll put him over here. Let's have him watch the reading. Yeah, let's see what we got for you. So, like I said in the description section, this is going to be a full moon reading. The full moon is on Monday, I think the 30th or 29th or something like that. It's also the beginning of Sagittarius. We have entered into Sagittarius this week as I am filming. So we're in the sign of Sagittarius. The sun has moved to Sagittarius. So we've got a couple of things kind of coming up with that. And then what's interesting about this full moon too, we'll get into just right before this reading, since this is a full moon reading, I'll let you know, it's in Gemini. And what's kind of cool is that Gemini and Sagittarius are square one another. I can't remember what you call it, but they're right across from each other, like they're the direct opposite sign. So that's pretty rare apparently to have that be the case, because the new moon that's coming after that is in Sagittarius. So it's like we have a full moon in Gemini and then a new moon in Sagittarius is pretty cool. So to have the full moon in Gemini in the sign of Sagittarius, where they're like that, it's like they're in this it's the north node south node thing. And a bunch of astrologers that I follow have been kind of talking about that there's some really powerful things going on. And then another thing too is there is a lunar eclipse this full moon, so that gives it extra power going on. And then apparently there's going to be a solar eclipse in the new moon coming up next month, so we'll do another video for that. But this one, we're just going to be looking at what to expect for this full moon. What are some messages for you? What are some messages too for the start of Sagittarius season? Kind of all of those things, and sort of just seeing what to expect from the cards in general. What's going on for you? So the first card we have from the Wild Unknown Tarot, and it is the Hierophant. And I'm still not going to read reversals. I generally, especially for my general readings, I don't read reversals because since these are general readings, the energy is so open, that I want to leave it as open as I can to the symbols and signs, and I just generally don't. If you ever get a private reading with me, or sometimes during my Patreon readings every now and then as well, I have done reversals. It just depends on how things are feeling. And I'm going to read this up right here. The Hierophant is all about following the bounds of tradition. So understanding things from a traditional perspective. So I think for this full moon in particular, pile number 1, you're really being asked to look at the traditions that exist within your life, to look at sort of, because this is the full moon is all about releasing things to release, and because this is such a larger full moon, it's a bigger full moon than normal, because there is the eclipse kind of gives it that extra thing. Like, this is really asking you to take a look at the patterning, the big patterns that exist in your life. That's what I'm feeling for this. And really, this is sort of an opportunity to let go of some of that patterning. So especially some of the big patterns and big cycles that have kind of ruled you for such a long time. This is a really great opportunity to, finally let some of that stuff go. And I think that in particular with this full moon, because these are big patterns, you're going to know what some of that stuff is. I think that maybe this is some of the things that you've been working on, and then actually, it was upside down and I turned it upright. And to me, that actually kind of continues to add some dimension to this, is sort of like some of this patterning, I think, that exists within you. You've been working on getting on releasing it for a long time. And you've probably taken many steps over the past year, 6 months, 2 years, even longer. A lot of this stuff is the stuff that you've been working on. And so this full moon is sort of this big culmination, because the full moon can be the climax. It's the climax of the moon cycle that it's a part of. And it's great for releasing. So it's sort of like you're at this climax of releasing some of this patterning and conditioning. And so you can move forward from a much cleaner slate. That's beautiful. Next up, you got a lot of cards from the Rider-Waite deck, so we'll read these kind of one at a time, I think, and just sort of see what we have here. So we have the 2 of Wands. Yeah, so this is really kind of adding back up to this sort of major releasing cycle that you're in a part of right now. It's really, like I said, it's a culmination. What's coming in now is the steps towards tomorrow for you, right? Like, it's the 2 of Wands is all about planning the future. It's like imagining a future. It can be journeying, traveling, moving. So potentially you have some actual physical journeying in your future. Maybe you are planning on moving or something like that, changing. But I think more on a metaphorical sense, what we're talking about is sort of what this clean slate is going to give you is the opportunity to start moving towards some of these goals, moving towards some of these desires or these futures or this outcome for something else, for something different, that you're putting aside all of this old stuff finally, and I think you've been working at it for a long time. And so because of that, you've opened up this opportunity towards these next new steps, which is so beautiful. Next up we have the 5 of Swords. Okay, so as this is happening too, right, as you move into this new thing, as you put aside these old patterns, I think it's so important to remember with this 5 of Swords energy, which can kind of be deceptive, kind of sometimes it's a little bit of not so great energy. I think what that's just saying, and there's 2 5s here, so these are really reflecting one another. We got a 5 and we got a 5. And 5 is a number of change and transformation. So I think this is just more energy of what you're transforming out of. It's like you're leaving behind any of these sort of, it's the he said, she said energy. You're leaving behind that energy, right? Where you're like, you're ready to just let go of blaming other people for your problems, blaming yourself for other people's problems, that kind of victim mentality, or like, and I want to be really gentle with that, because a lot of times, you may have actually been victimized in your life or been a part of a situation that has been honestly really, really terrible, but I see you transcending that kind of dynamic with other people. It's like you're ready to leave that kind of thing behind and move towards this open slate, this open self, this open image of something completely different. You know, it's like it's any of these cycles of this old turmoil, you are ready to just finally let it go and move on. We've got the Four of Cups here as well. So it's like, I really do get this energy of like, you know, this has been an opportunity for a while, right? And I think for a long time, the patterning that's existed for you has existed in such a way where you haven't been able to see the gifts that the universe has been giving you this whole time, or has been trying to offer, right? The universe has been trying to offer you this olive branch for many, many years, you know, or, you know, months, and just there's a very long time, right? I just feel as if there have been these opportunities for you and you just haven't been able to see them, because that's what the, you know, the Four of Cups is all about. It's all about not being able to see the opportunities that are being presented to you because you're distracted, because you're just focusing on all these other cups. And so I do feel like, particularly with that Five of Swords energy here, it's like you've been in a situation where you can't get past the other people, right? You can't get past other people for whatever reason. It's just been like, you know, one thing after the other with other people, the relationship dynamics that you've been in. You know, you've been in these challenging relationships with others. And I think because a part of that is that you've been in a challenging relationship with yourself. And so it's like, you know, it's all about this perspective, right? Like, it's like, and I think I heard a horn out there too, so there's confirmation with that. It's all about this perspective, and a perspective shift is really being offered to you in this moment of change, of sort of like, it's like taking, I don't want to just say like taking responsibility of your life, you know, like some dad or something, you know, like, I don't mean it that way, but I do feel like there's this sense of remembering that our inner and outer worlds reflect one another, right? At the end of the day, what we experience on the external is a reflection of what we experience on the internal, and what we experience on the internal is a reflection of what we experience on the external. They coexist within each other. It's not just external, it's not just internal. And a lot of times we, in our society, just the way that we've been raised and the way we've been trained to look at the world, based on Western philosophy and a great deal of things that exist within our society and our culture, we've been really trained to focus on the external world, the external plane, and not focus so much on the internal stuff and the internal side of things. And I think that because of that, because we are so trained to look on the external, what can happen from that is that we oftentimes will look to the external to find reasons for why our internal state exists the way that it does. But a lot of times what ends up happening is that actually the external is more of a reflection of that internal state. So it's like, what that means is like, your external world is reflecting the chaos that's within, and the reason why things aren't working out so great on the external sometimes is because of the way that you've been thinking, because of the way that you've been acting, because of, you know, how you see the choices that you have in your life versus the actual choices that you have in your life. And I think that that's a part of what's happening in this situation, is that, you know, that's the patterning that you're working towards releasing. And I think that, like I said, I think this has been work that you've been doing for a long period of time. So I don't want you to be too hard on yourself by getting this reading, because I do get the sense that this is a long time thing that you've been working towards. And so this full moon is going to be this very pivotal moment, and you really coming clear in your consciousness about this and really attempting to move beyond it, right? Because it's like, it's moving beyond looking for your relationships to be the answer to why things aren't working out, and instead start changing your mental mindset, the way that you're thinking about things. The way that you see the world is dependent on how you think. And then that shapes the choices that you see that you have versus, it's all like you might be having opportunities because of this Four of Cups here. There might be opportunities that are being presented to you in your life that you're just not even seeing because of a mindset. And so that mindset is directly related to these relationship stuff that you have with other people. But like I said, it's like this whole new journey is opening up. So let's keep looking at cards here. Yeah, okay. So we have the Seven of Cups here, which is all about having choices, having opportunities. So right, see what's happening here is that this is cool. This is representing this pattern shift that's happening, the patterning that exists within you that you're changing, right? We flip that upside down. And what we're doing is we're flipping out of this old energy where you have this difficulty in relationships with other people. Maybe you put other people first for a long time or something, or, just there's something here, that's a little bit meh. And that meh is making it really difficult for you to see the opportunities that are actually present in your life. And what's changing is that you're leaving that all behind, right? I see this almost like you're leaving relationships that aren't working for you anymore. You're leaving homes that aren't working for you. You're leaving situations that aren't working for you. You're leaving jobs that aren't working for you. All of that stuff, you're leaving it all behind and traveling to something new. And because of that, look at that. Where you couldn't see any of those opportunities, now, like there's like 7 opportunities that are available to you. And sometimes this can relate to having a difficulty in choosing which one is best for you, but I don't exactly feel that for this situation. I feel like by leaving behind this old mode of thinking, which could be directly related to maybe there are some people in your life that aren't so great, you know what I mean? And there are some actual relationships that you have to cut off. There are some actual situations that you have to leave. That could very well be what this is talking about. And so by choosing to do that, by choosing to walk away and choosing to journey into a new lifetime for yourself, create a new life for yourself, you're going to be presented with an incredible array of opportunities. And those opportunities, they're going to bring you a lot of happiness and joy. Yeah, and so you're leaving behind this energy, right? It's like it's not going to necessarily be easy for you, but it's all about a perspective shift, right? Like I mentioned that perspective shift before. Let's just make sure all these cards are in here. So, yeah, okay. I was mentioning that perspective shift before, and I think that this isn't going to be necessarily a cakewalk, this leaving behind this patterning and leaving behind these relationships, but I do think you're going to feel better for doing it. But, like what we see here in the Five of Cups is that this is a huge spiritual shift. That's how I always interpret this card, because it's all about this idea that you see how he's focused on these 3 cups that aren't working. It's very similar to this one, actually, where you were focused on those cups, right, that are over here, instead of being given that opportunity. It's like he is crying over these spilt cups because they were such a beautiful opportunity in his mind, and now they're gone, and there's a mourning energy to that. It's lost. This is the lost card. But in reality, you see there are 2 cups that are still upright behind him, and in fact, once he is finished mourning, because it's so important to feel your feelings, so I definitely encourage, if there's any of that kind of feelings within you, especially about all of this stuff, if we're talking about these patterns, right, and it's very difficult sometimes to change these patternings within us, but I see you doing that. When you can mourn the loss of these cups that are finished, then you'll be ready to turn around and focus on these 2 cups that are remaining, And those 2 cups that are remaining are really giving you this opportunity to have a new focus moving forward, right? It's the 2 of Wands here. It's another 2. It's like you're releasing the 3 and encouraging the 2, and then you'll see that there's all these new opportunities opening for you, right? So let's take a look at these other cards that we have. I've got 2 cards now from my hand-drawn deck. We've got the 10 of Swords. Oh yeah, I feel that. And the 4 of Swords. Okay, so there's definitely some tricky energy to this. Nothing dire, like I don't want you to be afraid or anything like that, but it just means like I feel like you've been going through it. Like I really do feel that. I feel like you've been in a situation that's been really tricky with other people, you know, and it's really thrown you through a loop, because it's like it's all you can focus on is this difficult energy. And so that's where this 10 of Swords is coming in. It's like this, it's feeling defeated, right? But it's almost like an overly dramatic sense sometimes, which, you know, I don't mean to laugh, right? Because it's not fun to be in this energy. But sometimes it's kind of this idea of wallowing in it if it's coming. So it's like there's been a lot. You've dealt with a lot. And so it's like this full moon is coming with the opportunity to release a lot of this stuff and really kind of recoup your energy, right? So the 2 of Wands is this planning card, right? So it doesn't indicate that you have to have it all figured out right now. And in fact, I don't think you're going to. But I think you're going to come up with an idea on how to move forward. And it's going to be very clear for you. And very open for you. And I think that that's going to be an incredibly helpful thing for you, because we have the rest card here as well. So 4 of Swords is all about rest. So it's like, I definitely feel like there's this energy of you needing to take a break from a lot of things and probably process. I really do feel that. I think you need to process some things because you've definitely dealt with loss. And if you're about to leave some relationships behind that are really not working for you, I think that in that leaving things behind, you're probably going to feel a bit of grief in that situation for losing a friend or losing a situation, or, you know, endings can be very, very difficult. And I do feel that there is a definite sense of endings. Yeah, especially with the 10 of Swords here. The 10 of Swords can talk about a dramatic conclusion to something, you know? So I feel like there is something in your life that's coming to a close, and it's coming to a close in a way that maybe won't give you the closure you're looking for, at least on the external. And so I think it's going to be really, really, really important for you, if that's the case, to really be gentle with yourself through this, you know, really, really be with yourself through the process. You know, the thing about emotions is that when we allow ourselves to feel them, the feeling of our emotions is a part of the processing. And when we process our emotions, then we release them, you know, and then they're done. And so, but if we don't process them, if we don't allow ourselves to feel them, we bury them, and then we hold on to them. And then that holding on to them causes a great deal of pain and suffering into the future when we don't necessarily need to do that. So whatever is happening in your life, I really deeply encourage you to be very, very present with it, because it's important to remember any situation, if it's difficult, this too shall pass, right? It's like all things must pass. So it's like, even if you're really in it right now and it is a really difficult situation, remember, not all situations are lasting forever. So if you have to leave something behind, you know, remember that there's bright opportunity in your future. I definitely feel that, you know, and I feel like you're changing the way that you maybe even interact with others, right? In a way that's going to be a very positive change for you, and open you up to a new future and a very uplifting feeling. But it might take leaving some things, and that leaving might not be the easiest. But just be gentle with yourself. Make sure you're getting enough sleep through this process. Make sure you're resting enough through this process. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. You're looking after yourself. It's so, 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 so important. And remember that it's all about your perspective. Like I was saying at the beginning, this is a perspective shift. So it's like you're being encouraged through this process to see what is working in your life. So that's the thing. It's like they're mourning over the things that don't work, but once they finish that emotional processing, they turn around to see that there are still 2 cups in their life, and that those cups they can now cherish even more because they've lost other things, and these things are what stuck around. These things are what work. So it's like there are things that are working in your life a lot, and here they are. And so it's like if you're going through, sometimes the universe gives us, and I don't have the Tower card here, but I almost feel the Tower energy, right? I feel that endings, because these cups have spilt over. It's a little bit like that Tower. The thing about those Tower moments is that they actually, you know, they're not very easy to go through, but they're the universe clearing out the way so that we have the opportunity to have this new future. So just keep that in mind, that even when things end, you know, they have to end so that we have those new beginnings. We can't have the new beginning if we don't have the ending. And so I definitely feel that's kind of what I feel for this reading. We've got 2 oracle cards from the Angels deck. Healing with the Angels. It's my favorite new deck. I got it recently. So let's see what we got music. Oh, neat. And we've got friendship. Okay, so this is beautiful. So let me read them both from the book, because they give some really nice descriptions here. Music. The angels guide you to immerse yourself in beautiful music. And I'm really getting, just, it popped into my head. On YouTube, there's all of those miracle tones, right? Those spiritual tones for healing, you know, and stuff like that. I kind of feel like you should look those up on YouTube, and that those could really help you with this processing, right? Play those healing music, because, like, you know, I listen to them all the time, and they really do help. So especially if you're feeling kind of depressed, or you're feeling anxious, or you're feeling any of that kind of stuff, listen to those, because they're really helpful. But let me keep reading. Music lifts your spirit above earthbound concerns and elevates your thoughts to divine love. You have angels with you who want to help you through the healing properties of music. By drawing this card, the angels ask you to add more music into your life. They guide you to play soft background music while you dress, work, and play. They also ask you to whistle and sing often. You may have drawn this card because your own musical gifts. Have you felt guided lately to compose a song, participate in a musical play, join a singing group or band, or play an instrument? These inner nudges may be coming from your angels, who can see your gifts. They know that your musical talents will help others, so they ask you to be an earth angel by expressing your gift of song and melody. That's cool. And then the other card is friendship. So also too, you know, reach out. Like I said, I don't think this is like all relationships, you know what I mean? Like you probably have some friends out there who can really help you through this, you know, who you can talk to about what's going on. I feel that with this friendship card. Changes in your friendships are occurring. Oh, well, you know, this too. Maybe you are letting go of some people. Be lovingly honest with yourself and your friends right now, and appreciate the healing benefits of a true friend. Okay. Oh, I'm having trouble with my throat chakra too. So maybe, well, as we're talking about friends, you know, it's so important to speak your truth with people, with your friends. Speak up, speak your truth. You know, say what you need to say, even if it's difficult, even if it's hard. I think it's important. If there are some things that you need to talk to them about, you know, if there are some things in some of your friendship groups that, you know, there's a friend or there's people in your life where something's just not working, and, you know, maybe there's just something in the relationship dynamic that isn't good for you, you know, you gotta say it. You gotta say it. No matter what it is, you gotta talk it out, you know? It's important, you know? Be lovingly honest with yourself and your friends right now and appreciate the healing benefits of a true friend. Not only are you changing on the inside, but your life is changing on the outside as well. This totally relates to this reading. Among these changes are your relationships with friends. Perhaps you fear that you no longer have common interests with old friends, or maybe you wonder if you'll meet new friends with whom you share close bonds. Changes in friendships are natural, and the angels ask you to surrender your relationships to them. Know that the universe and the angels watch over you and your friends. They will lovingly help all of you during these transitions. This card also signifies that you are ready to receive new friendships with people who mirror your interests and ambitions. Yeah, so I think that's kind of a part of it. Is as you move towards kind of starting new, because I feel that, you know, and if you release these friendships that aren't working, remember, by opening that up, you actually open yourself up to meeting the people who do, who are compatible with you, who do gel with you a lot more. You know, you have the opportunity to let into your life these new friendships that, you know, may even be more conducive to you at a soul level, you know, than some of these relationships that maybe you feel you are obligated to be a part of for whatever reason, when they might just not be working out anymore. And it's, you know, it's okay. It's okay to grow apart from people, right? And it's okay to grow apart and to move into something else with your life. And if that means, you know, moving on from certain people sometimes, that's okay. It doesn't have to be anything more than that. And, you know, sometimes you have to release certain people from your life to let other people in, you know, just based on your own changing of your own mind. And that's okay. You know, I want you to know that's okay. That's happened in my life. And it's not easy, and it can be really sad sometimes to let certain people go who've been really important to you, and have helped you through certain periods of your life. But ultimately, if things change and you need to move in a new direction, and that other person, you know, doesn't understand that, or can't understand that, or, you know, is keeping you in a way that, you know, based on your relationship dynamic and the way that you view things and the way that they view things, if that's just not gonna gel anymore, that's okay, you know. And it's something that you know, you don't have to be hard on yourself for that. You don't have to be hard on them either. You know, you can release someone with love. Absolutely, you can 100% continue to love someone, but know that they're not good for you anymore. And you can release them with love and compassion, and that releasing with love and compassion is not hurting you. You know, it might hurt you, you know, it might hurt emotionally, both of you, but it's not damaging each other's souls. You know, you're not deeply negatively impacting your own sense of self in the perpetual sense by doing that. In fact, you are actually showing yourself an incredible amount of love and self-compassion by understanding that this is who you are and this is what you need to do. And you know, that's okay. You know, I want you to know that that's okay. And this is something that I intimately struggle with myself. There was one friendship that I released recently, you know, and not too long ago, and I still, you know, today I was like thinking about it and thinking, did I make the right choice, you know, by ending this? And, you know, I think it was something I had to do to move into this new phase of my life that's so important to me. And you know, I'm so much happier now for having done that. And so I have to be okay with that. You know, I have to be compassionate to myself to know that it's okay for me to choose myself. You know, it's okay for me to choose my own personal well-being and upliftment. And sometimes that just has to happen. And sometimes that means saying goodbye to certain people. And it doesn't have to be forever, you know. I don't know. That one friend that I was talking about, like, we might meet again someday. I don't know. But I know I can't be so close to that person right now. And that's also okay. You know, it's you got to be okay with you. And you ultimately, it's like this is your life that you are leading. And it's yours that you are leading. And a part of that, you know, like I was saying, taking responsibility or whatever for yourself means taking responsibility for your own happiness, where it's like what you need to be happy is something that you have to learn how to provide for yourself. And it's something that if you want to be happy in life, you have to choose happiness. And sometimes that's a difficult choice. You know, we got these choices here. Sometimes it's hard to choose happiness, and it can make you feel sad in the short term, you know, but ultimately it's like you have to free yourself from this energy, you know, of deception, of self-deception, of self-sabotage, of all of that, you know. And sometimes being in certain relationship dynamics perpetuates our own inner self-sabotage. It certainly can, especially if it's a dynamic where, you know, you feel like you have to provide a lot for that person, or you feel like, you know, you feel personally responsible for another person like that, or whatever it is for you, you know. Whereas that could actually be a codependent relationship dynamic that isn't healthy for you in the long run. And so it's like you got to level with yourself sometimes in that direction and say, you know, look, if this isn't working, then I have to surrender this and follow my heart and follow what I need for me. So yeah, anyway, pile number one, that was my reading for you. I hope that you're doing okay, you know, and I think that you are. I think that you have a lot of beautiful things coming up, you know. So just remember, you know, it's okay to make these tough decisions. And, you know, trust yourself, trust your own knowing through this process. And feel your feelings, feel your grief. If you have to leave a friendship, man, you know, it's not easy. It doesn't feel easy. So be gentle with yourself and rest and give yourself comfort and know that by choosing your own well-being and your own happiness, that's okay and that's important. So, you know, hopefully this resonated with you. If you didn't feel like this resonated with you, because I got pretty specific after a bit there, feel free to choose a different pile. But yeah, anyway, that was my reading for you. Feel free to let me know in the comments what you think either way. I deeply love hearing from all of you. So thanks. Thank you so much. A huge thanks to my Patreon subscribers. I am so honored to have you with me. So if you want to check out Patreon, please do. That's at patreon.com/JunoDrome. We're really getting going on that. There are many different levels, but at the highest level, you get a what's coming this month reading at the beginning of the month. I don't do one of those on YouTube, but I do them on Patreon. So if you want a detailed understanding from the cards on what to expect for the month, we have that. Then there's a mid-month check-in that's kind of a recap of, okay, this is what we thought was going to happen, what's actually happened in the mid-month, and then also kind of seeing what's coming for the rest of it. And then there is a live web chat reading with me. So if you want to talk one-to-one and really ask any direct questions and kind of see that for a live reading, that's a part of the Patreon. And then also it involves a free tarot card from my hand printed deck that I'm working on. one of those every month as well, with a description of the card in my own words. So anyway, that's that. And then finally, I have some private readings available on my website. You can check that out at www.junodrome.com. And yeah, anyway, pile number one, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you have a wonderful full moon, and hang in there, you know. Yeah, you got this, you know. Be gentle with yourself. Rest when you need it. It's so important. And remember that, you know, if you're ready to build your life in the direction that you want, that's okay. You know, choosing you, it's not overly selfish to have your own best interest at heart, because ultimately this is your life that you're living, and you can't expect everyone else to have your best interest at heart. They're going to have their best interest at heart ultimately. And yes, help people when you can, be open when you can, you know, but also protect yourself and know what you need for you and follow that. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with following your dreams, you know, and changing your physical life to fit those. Nothing wrong with that, ever. Anyway, pile number one. Catch you later. See ya. Hey there, pile number two. Welcome to your full moon reading. So this is a reading for what's going to happen this full moon. It is a full moon in Gemini. Well, we have just entered into the sun sign of Aquarius. So that's pretty cool that the moon and the sun are going to be, sorry, we're not in Aquarius right now. We're in Sagittarius. They sound similar in my subconscious. But what's really interesting about this combination is that the sun will be in Sagittarius while the moon is in Gemini, and they happen to be directly across from one another in the zodiac, which is pretty cool. So that's kind of reflecting of this north node, south node kind of a thing. So there's a lot going on with this full moon. So it's going to be pretty powerful. The first pile was pretty powerful, so I'm guessing that yours will be too. We'll put your fun little stones over by the horse from pile number one. So I pulled a bunch of different types of cards. First up, we've got 3 cards from the Wild Unknown Tarot. So we've got the Mother of Wands, which is the Queen of Wands in most decks. We've got the Ace of Wands. Ooh. And we've got the the 8 of Cups. Wow. Oh, wow. So the full moon is all about releasing. They tend to be about letting go of things. They're best used in that direction. If you are someone who practices moon magic, following the moon cycles for your own manifestation cycles, the full moon is all about what it's time to get rid of, what it's time to leave behind so you can move forward. And I really see that that's a part of what's happening for you in this cycle. This particular full moon is huge because of that. Another thing I didn't mention yet is that there happens to be a lunar eclipse on the full moon, which is pretty incredible. So, you know, when we have those eclipses on the full moon, that means it's an extra powerful full moon. It's one that takes on a larger spiritual dimension than just a normal full moon. So because of that, you know, you are leaving something behind, definitely. You're ready to move on to a new cycle in your life. This is the closing of a chapter, and the beginning of a new chapter, because the aces are new beginnings. So it's like you're ending one cycle and you're beginning a new one with this full moon. And the cycle that you're starting and ending, I guess, too, is it's all about your passions and your drives and what lights you up in life. You know, you're being guided and represented in this deck, in this spread, by the Queen of Wands. And she is all about manifestation. She follows her dreams and she makes things happen. She's ready to go out and chase her dreams down until they happen. She's ready to let anything happen in order to make her life what she needs it to be, what she wants her life to be. And I only say she because it's the queen. This could be for male or female. She tends to be more divine feminine focused, but I'm feeling for this particular reading, this is just open. She's just representing this very powerful dynamic of going and getting what you want and what you need, And so with the Ace of Wands here, it's really saying that this new chapter that's opening up for you is all about manifesting your dreams. It's all about following what lights you up in life. And it's fire too, so it's fun that this is in Sagittarius, because Sagittarius is a fire sign, whereas the Gemini, which is what the moon is an air sign. And the combo, fire and air, is like a pretty powerful combo, because the air is all about the mind, fire is all about passion and drive. And so it's like, that added Sagittarius, like this particular Sagittarius season for you, I think is going to be really, really powerful in moving towards your dreams. And moving away from the things that no longer serve you. So we're going to look at more cards because I feel like we're going to get a better understanding of what you're leaving behind. But the Eight of Cups is all about this. It's all about this idea of moving into a new cycle, and it's leaving things behind. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, it's depicted as a man who's walking away from 8 cups that are upright, with the idea that he has used these 8 cups for a long time and they served him really well for a while, but he's outgrown them. They no longer fit his life, and so he's going to go off and travel towards that 9th and 10th cup that's out there. He's no longer satisfied with just 8. He knows that he needs more. He knows he's destined for more in his life. So it has that connotation of sort of like, you're ready to, there may have been some things in your life that have made you comfortable for a while, and you've kind of been in that, like, it's that energy of like staying with what you know as opposed to taking a leap of faith to find what would be better for you. But you're ready to leave behind what you know, and you're ready to travel into that unknown to find what's going to light you up. You just can't stay away from it any longer. And then the Eight of Cups in my own personal deck, the hand-drawn one, I give it an extra dimension because I've drawn the cups in a wheel shape, and I give it that, the lyric from that song, the wheel in the sky keeps on turning. So for me, the Eight of Cups has this extra dimension of change, right? That change is the nature of the universe, that things continuously move. And so cycles will continue to move into something else. Dreams will move into new things. Our bodies will move into new categories, all that kind of movement and cycle. So there has that a bit of that connotation here too. Next up, we have 2 cards from the 1JJ Swiss deck, cool deck from the 70s I like. We've got the 3 of Wands, okay, and we've got the 5, 6, 7, 8 of Cups again. Cool. Okay, so I always say this, but it's true. Whenever a card comes up twice in a reading, it's the most important message for the reading. Like, that is what your angels and spirits and guides, and however you identify your team that exists in the non-physical, who's there helping you through life, what they want me to tell you, the most important message for you this full moon, is that you are moving on. You are moving on. And because this is, because this is that eclipse energy, that this is a bigger full moon than normal, what that means is, like, I really do feel like this is probably something you've been working on for a long time, that you've been working towards moving. You've probably made a lot of steps in your life already towards this new direction. But this is sort of, this full moon is kind of where it goes, pow, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, this is it. You've already walked through the door probably, you're probably already on it, but this is just like, now the door closes behind you, right? Your past closes behind you. You're ready to move on from your past completely. You let it all go. It's time. It's time to let the whole past go. And there's this mantra that I use for myself. That's sort of like, whenever you think about your past, because it's so important to remember, the past actually doesn't exist anymore at all. It's physically gone. We don't have it anymore. We can't go back. There's never going to be a going back. You can't go back. Once it's done, it's done. And all we exist in is this present moment. Our power exists here and then here and now. We have action to make change in our life right here, right now. We don't have the ability to go back. Now, once we've made these choices, like, and I don't mean to be ominous, like, if you've made a choice and you feel like you're in a direction that you don't want to be in, you can always choose to go in a different direction again. Like, so don't worry about that. But what I mean is that the past itself is gone. So it's like you can't go back to a different moment and change the decision and then move forward from there. Like that you can't do. But you can, like I said, if you feel like you've made a misstep in your direction forward through life, there is no wrong choices. Like, we just have choices. You are totally free to move in a different direction. And there's that other adage too of whatever is meant for you in this lifetime will find you in some direction if you surrender to life and you surrender to it. So I didn't mean to go off on that tangent, but what I mean is that you are at the point where you're ready to release all of the past. And that mantra, if I didn't give it to you, I didn't. The mantra is that whenever you think about the past and you have any kind of regret or any kind of twinge of like, oh no, I should have done this, or oh, it would have been better to do that, you catch yourself. And this is something I've been catching myself doing this recently. So this is why I'm giving this to you. When you catch yourself, you say, okay, no, I see my past. I can see the decisions that I made. And I thank you. I thank my past fully and completely, and I forgive my past fully and completely, because I see that my past has led me to where I am right here, right now, and I know that where I am right here, right now is exactly where I am supposed to be. So thank you, past, and thank you, present. Something like that. I do that for myself all the time because, it's easy. It's easy to get lost in the past. It's easy to catch yourself thinking, oh, I should have done that. Or, oh, did I really make the right choice by doing X, Y, and Z or something, and it's just like, well, whatever, you know what I mean? Like sometimes I'll be thinking about that from 11 years ago. Like, oh, did I do the right thing 11 years ago? I was like, well, but like, who cares? Like, it literally has no effect on my life at this point. Like, it was 11 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, I could do something different now. Like, I can't change that, What, I'm going to try to imagine what would have happened if I had done something different 11 years ago? Like, no. There's no point in doing that. It just hurts you, So I just feel like that's sort of what you're doing in this process as you're moving towards this beautiful, bright future, because you're maybe realizing with this full moon that, like, no, your power lies here in the present, and it's in the present that you can make your dreams come true. You can't make your dreams come true by going to school 10 years ago at a different location or for a different major, like whatever. That's water under the bridge. But you can make actionable choices right now towards that same goal, and maybe you'll get there. It's like some of us take the expressway to a destination, and some of us take the back winding roads because we want to see the scenery, That's fine. They all go to the same place. You just wanted to see the woods a little bit, You wanted to walk in this direction because you wanted a better, scenic route, You wanted to take a look at the vistas. Enjoy. It's about the journey and not the destination. And sometimes that can feel a little hokey, but it's so true. It's like, because we're in the present moment, we're not gonna be at that. It's like when you put everything off to the future, what you're doing is you're denying yourself the joy of living, and then there's no guarantee that once you make it to that thing, especially if you're so gung-ho, so focused on trying to make it to some goal, there's no guarantee that once you get there, you're going to feel fulfilled. Because if you don't learn how to feel fulfilled right here, right now, in the present, you're not going to feel that in the future either, because the future is just a future present moment, right? It won't be the future. It'll be the present when you're there. So, if you don't learn how to be comfortable right here, right now, when you get to where you're going, you're still not going to know how to be comfortable being right here, right now. You know what I mean? So you might as well slow down and be okay with where you are, but then, and then take actionable steps towards your goal. That's what I mean. Like, I'm not telling you not to have goals and move towards them, because clearly you're doing that and it's working out for you. And then that final card here too is the Three of Wands, which is all about planning. Planning for your future, planning your next steps, which I just feel for you. You are having ideas and divine inspiration in this moment too, because it's almost like a magic wand, right? The wands. You're having divine inspiration towards your dreams. And with the Three of Wands here, it's really asking you to jump on that, And remember, it's so important to remember, you don't have to have it all planned out. And in fact, you probably shouldn't. We don't have all the answers right now. Spirit will never ask you to come up with like 3 billion steps, towards your dreams. You might just have a goal in mind, keep it general, and then the divine inspiration will give you the next step, each step along the way. So just be open toward the steps flowing into your inspiration and jump on them. But I feel that you're doing that, and I feel like you're really turning the page on this old chapter of your life, and not looking back too. Pile number 2. I don't think you're going to be looking back. So don't look back. Don't look back. You're not going that way. There's my sister has a like one of those inspirational signs with words. She's got one of those in her house, and I read it every day, and I'm like, yeah, don't look back. You're not going that way. Right, pile number 2? That's what I feel for you. That's totally, don't look back, man. You got this. So we got more cards. So let's see. We got 2 cards from the Rider-Waite deck. Oh, cool. 6, 7. We got the 8 of Wands. So another 8. 3 8s. 888. That's an angel number. And the Fool. Oh, great. So yeah, remember that, like, jumping off the cliff? Did I say that? Because that's literally the Fool here. So that's why it's like when I was talking about the 8 of Cups, I was like, that idea of just sticking with what you know because it's familiar, even though it might not be fulfilling for you or might even be actively hurting you. Instead, you're facing the unknown, and you're going to jump off that cliff and be in this new beginning. And it's going to be great. But I think it's important to remember too is that, this isn't coming from nowhere. With this 8 of Pentacles here, it's really saying like, no, you've been working really hard at this new beginning. You've been working your butt off to get to be in the position to have this new beginning that's open to you now. So, don't think that you haven't, remember that you've put in a lot of work to get here. And pat yourself on the back, like really congratulate yourself for getting to this point, because it's not easy to do this kind of thing, and I think that the work that you put in wasn't always easy. You had to make really difficult choices, because look at these cups are all broken here, so it's sort of like, oh yeah, you had to go through some rough stuff or make some difficult choices or really, work your butt off to get to the point where you have this fresh start now. So really cherish that, and really like congratulate yourself, and commend yourself for making those difficult choices, because it's not easy. It's not easy, but you've done it, and now you're really gonna thank yourself for it, for all of these choices that you've made. I really feel that. Next up, we have 2 cards from my hand-drawn deck. So these will be the last tarot, and then I've got a couple oracle cards. We've got the Hermit, okay? And we've got the 6 of Pentacles. Interesting. Okay. So, you know, with the Six of Pentacles here, it's this idea of being okay asking for help, you know, so just keep that in mind too, that if you're ever in a quandary or you're ever in a situation where you just feel like, you know, you feel alone with that Hermit card here, yeah, with these two together, that's interesting. Because the Hermit is all about going off and going on your own, and I think that you've been doing that. I think you've been prioritizing your own sanity, you know, your own dreams, and that's put you in a direction that, you know, you might feel a little alone sometimes. With that Six of Pentacles, it's just like remembering that, you know, there's always help available to you, and even if you feel alone in this, you know, if you feel alone in the situation, then reach out to your guides, you know, your spirit team, the angels, however you conceive of them. Reach out to them because they're there for you. I get that from the non-physical. If you don't have help in the physical, but I feel like you probably have help in the physical world too, you know, if you have family, friends, you know, whoever, there's people in your life who can help you through stuff if you ever have any feeling like that, you know. But yeah, I do feel like you've prioritized yourself in this, and I think that that's really going to pay off for you. And you know, I want you to know that that's okay. You know, it's okay to prioritize your health and your sanity and your own well-being. And sometimes that's what you got to do if you're trying to build something beautiful for yourself, you know. So just be open to that. Be open to the universe as it flows through you, you know. That act of surrender or whatever is so important. You know, surrendering to life is like, it's incredible when you start acting in that direction and just sort of say, okay, life, what comes next, you know? And like I said, it's one step at a time. You know, you don't have to know everything. You know the trajectory. It's like sailing, right? When we're sailing a ship, we know where we want to sail, but the conditions are going to be constantly changing. So we have to work with the wind itself in order to sail in the directions we need to go. So we have to be here, present in the moment. We can't be living at the destination because we have to be the ones sailing the ship. So you have to be right here, right now in the present moment, and then you have to adjust your sails as you move forward. So you have your trajectory. You have the direction you want to go in. You have a general idea of where you want to be. You don't have to have, you know, it's not, you can't use Google Maps when you're sailing across the ocean, right? Because you're probably going to sail in whatever direction the wind's going to take you, but you know where you want to end up, right? So that's kind of the idea here, is that, you know, you're open to life giving you whatever, and, you know, you just take it one step at a time, and then you'll get where you want to go. So next up I have two cards from the Shamanic Healing Oracle, one of my favorite oracle decks. It's got some really great insights. The first one is Struggle. Cool. And I think that the struggle energy is what you're kind of letting go of a little bit more, but I will read it anyway. Struggle is a part of this life, so much so that you probably know people who seem to constantly attract one struggle after another into their lives. This is their comfort zone. While struggle is natural, it is natural only so far as it lends itself to learning lessons and overcoming interpersonal challenges. Beneath every one of these struggles is the gift of enlightenment, the satisfaction of a lesson learned. Use this knowledge as the light at the end of your dark tunnel. What lessons is this struggle teaching you? Alternatively, after a brief setback, the situation will start to right itself. Yeah, so I feel for this, it's sort of like, you know, remembering, you know, whatever lessons you can learn from any of these struggles that you may have been in, especially with those broken cups I was saying, any of these difficulties. Like, once you learn the lessons from those struggles, though, you can release them. And it's like, well, struggle is natural. It's natural only so far as it lends itself to learning lessons and overcoming those interpersonal challenges. So I see you kind of overcoming that, right? I feel like you're overcoming that struggle energy here. The next oracle card that we have is the Transformation. Yes, exactly. You're totally transforming. Look at that, you little caterpillar. You're going to be a butterfly soon. After the rain comes the sun. After the caterpillar comes the butterfly. This situation you are inquiring about is somehow acting as a catalyst for a major transformation. That fits in so completely with all of what we've been talking about. If you find yourself questioning or having regrets, don't. Try not to second guess yourself or beat yourself up. Nothing happens that is not supposed to happen. Many of your issues and situations are not anything to be upset about. They are a path to the wholeness. You are the one who infuses drama and chaos into the situation. You are always given opportunities to grow and learn. Growth and learning very rarely come about when everything stays the status quo and just as you think they should be. Be thankful that you have this wonderful opportunity to transform and heal to a better and higher rate of vibration. Ah, that's so great. So right, you know, and I feel that for you. I feel that for you. I really do. You're totally transforming and becoming this version of yourself that is unafraid to follow your dreams, right? Because, you know, you're alive right here, right now to do that, you know? It's like your dreams are giving you hints of what this life is for you. So to chase them, go after them. You're only going to be happy to yourself for doing that, you know? Like, you'll be so happy for following your dreams, always. Finally, we've got a card from Healing with the Angels, and it's forgiveness. Oh, and big self-forgiveness, too. I feel that for you. Like I was saying, forgive your past, you know, and forgive yourself, too, for anything. You know, I think it's important to remember that most of the time we're all trying to do our best, you know, and maybe our best is not so great in a certain moment compared to other times, but, you know, it's so important to remember that, like, if there's a moment in your past that you regret, you know, with actions that you take, it's just important to remember that, you know, given the information you had at the time and given the situation, you were doing the best you could, you know, you really were. So give yourself that gift of forgiveness. It's so important. But let me read from the book too, just so you get. Let go of anger and resentment and feel yourself healed. You don't need to forgive the action, just the person, so that you can be at peace. By drawing this card, your angels guide you to release anger and irritation. They realize that you may be perfectly justified in feeling angry, yet they ask you to look at the high price you pay for being the vessel of anger. Forgiveness does not mean what you did is okay to me. It simply means I am no longer willing to carry around pain in response to your actions. When we hold unforgiveness in our hearts, we only punish ourselves after all. Your angels will help you release unforgiveness if you will just ask for their assistance. Yeah, so, you know, I think that's important, forgiveness. And remember, when you forgive somebody, you don't have to do it in person. You know, if there are people that you've released from your life that you need to forgive to feel whole inside, you can just write a letter and never send it, you know, any of that kind of thing. You can forgive people without ever talking to them again. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, pile number 2, I think that's where I'm going to leave it. That was my reading for you. That was pretty powerful. So let me know in the comments what you think of it either way. I really love hearing from everybody. Thank you, everyone, so much for tuning in and subscribing to the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already, because I love having you with me. If you are interested at all, I have a Patreon page where we're really starting to kick up. Super, super, super huge thanks to my 2 Patreon subscribers. So thankful to have you with me over there. What you can get from Patreon, if you're at the highest level, you get a beginning of the month reading. I don't do one of those on the channel here, so that's the only place you can get it. If you want to know what the month's going to be like, I'll do the beginning of each month, what the month is going to be like reading. Then we have a mid-month reading. It's kind of like a recap of what's gone down, how things were from where we thought they were going to be and what the rest is going to be like. And then there is a meet and greet live reading where you can chat with me directly. And if you ever had any questions for me, you can ask them directly there. We can have a whole conversation together. And then the final gift at the Patreon subscription is a card each month in the mail from me. One of my tarot cards from my hand-printed deck that I'm creating right now, with a handwritten or hand-typed message of my own definitions of the card. So anyway, that's that. If you want a private reading with me, I have them available on my website. Check that out at www.junodrome.com. And yeah, that's it for me. I hope you have a wonderful day, pile number 2, and I will see you soon. Bye. Hey there, pile number 3. Welcome to your full moon reading. You chose the pile with this cute little pig. I have heard that he is a great charm for keeping electronics in good shape, so that's fun. I'll put him over here with these guys. And we'll dive right into this reading. So some fun things to know about this full moon. It is a full moon in the sign of Gemini, as we have just entered into the sign, the sun has just entered into the sign of Sagittarius. And so what's really interesting is that Sagittarius and Gemini are across from one another in the zodiac. And so it's kind of fun to have the sun and the moon in each sign across from one another. It's a pretty powerful combination. And what's also cool is that there happens to be a lunar eclipse on this full moon. So it makes the energies of the full moon even more powerful, even more pronounced. And so the full moon, if you're using the full moon in any kind of ritual, any kind of magical transformation, the full moon is really great for releasing things, letting things go. And so this is sort of an even bigger release than normal because of that, all of that. So let's take a look. The first 2 readings have been pretty powerful, so I'm assuming this one will be too. We'll start out with 4 cards from the Wild Unknown Tarot. So we've got the Ace of Cups. So right off the bat, this full moon is coming in with a new beginning for you, and it's a new beginning in your emotional body. A new beginning towards love, towards peace, towards emotional harmony. You have that opening up for you. We've got the High Priestess. Wow. So another thing that's really powerful is it's sort of, you know, the cups are also about water. They're water signs. And so it's like water's also very intuitive and this sort of inner flow. So I feel like going with the flow is going to be really big for you in this cycle that's opening up, but also you are a very powerfully intuitive person. You know, this is all of my psychics and stuff in this pile, you know, so it's like there's some connection with the other realms that is looking to come into your life. And so this full moon might be a great opportunity to open yourself up to that. You know, and you might want to actually perform some kind of full moon ritual or something like that. Like that could actually be really powerful and beneficial for you. Like I said, the full moon's all about letting things go and releasing. So maybe there's something of that. But, you know, the full moon is also a culmination of the moon cycle. So, you know, there's some power to the full moon as well. So I don't know if you follow the moon cycles, but you might look into doing that. I do, and I find it very beneficial. It's sort of like, you know, cosmic calendar in a sense. It's like I tune my own, you know, journeys through life to the moon cycle, and that's very helpful for me. We've got the Mother of Pentacles. Wow. So she's a very nurturing card. You see we've got 2 deer here. And it's all about the pentacles. She's the Queen of Pentacles in most decks. So I feel that that's representing you in here as well. So what's interesting is you know, we've got water with the cups, and we've got earth with the pentacles, and the the sun has just entered into Sagittarius, which is fire, and this full moon is in Gemini, which is air. So it's kind of like all of them together. So that's a really powerful magical combination in itself too. But with that earth and grounding energy with this Mother of Pentacles, this very nurturing mom who's very providing, very abundant. It's flowing towards abundance in the physical world. So it's like this full moon is giving you this opportunity to have this new beginning that's opening you up to beautiful, wonderful, loving emotions. And there's some nurturing here too. I don't know if you have, if you're a parent or any of that kind of thing, but I do feel a little bit of that sense in here too. So we might have some parents watching. This is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave what doesn't, but I just get that sense in here too. And then we have the Six of Wands, which is the victory card, which I definitely feel that, look at this butterfly, which is a symbol of transformation, is flying out of this chaos and into a beautiful brand new day. So that's really kind of what's going on for this. Is it's like, I see this chaos as maybe emotional turmoil too, with this new beginning towards emotions. I feel like maybe you're letting go of depression, or any kind of difficult emotional states you may have been in the past. It's like you're opening up to a brand new understanding of things, and that opening up, letting go of maybe these negative self-talk, negative thoughts, any of that kind of thing. You're overcoming that with this cycle. Like that's kind of, like I said, the full moons are all about releasing things, and then with this eclipsed full moon, it's like it's an even more powerful release. It's like this is what you're finally releasing. And I think, because of that eclipse too, it's like I think these are the bigger things that we've been working long term at changing within ourselves. So I feel like maybe this is something you've been working on a really long time, but it's like this is the culmination of that payoff with this full moon. Is like you're really leaving behind those old emotional states and really, really, really tuning into this new way of experiencing life from a place of happiness. And along with that is coming this connection to the universe. It's coming this connection to your guides, to spirits, to angels, to the non-physical, whatever that means to you. You have an intimate relationship with the universe and with your higher self. And you're going to be really communicating with your higher self. And I actually feel that too with these two deer. The deer can be a symbol of deep intuitive communication. Normally it comes with the deer with antlers because it's like antenna, but I still feel that with these two. It's like, this can almost be a representation of your higher and lower selves, with the mom and the baby, and then also reconnecting into your childhood. So it's like your inner child. I feel like you're healing your inner child with this cycle. That's totally what I'm feeling. It's like you're overcoming this negative self-talk, which may have developed in childhood due to difficult childhood situations. Happens to a lot of us, especially if you consider yourself an empath at all, or a very empathetic person. I feel like you're a very sensitive person with this High Priestess here. A lot of us who are intuitive and psychically sensitive, or however you want to conceive of that, because of that we're deeply sensitive people, and it's difficult to leave childhood as a sensitive person without some kind of emotional wounds. It's pretty much impossible. So I feel like a big part of what's coming in here, of you transcending this negative self-image, negative self-talk, difficult anxiety, any of that kind of thing, the transcendence is coming from you reconnecting to your inner child and giving your inner child this beautiful nurturing love that you're opening up, and that's going to give you a sense of happiness and love because you're giving it to yourself. And then as you connect into your higher self has been trying to get you to do this forever anyway. So it's like, the three of you are coming into being of one you, because that's ultimately what you are. Next up, I have one card from the 1JJ Swiss deck, and it is the King of Cups. Wow. Okay, so the King of Cups is coming in with that Ace of Cups energy. It's interesting, you have a king and a queen, so your divine masculine and divine feminine is connected here. What's cool is that the divine masculine within you in this reading is being represented by the King of Cups, and the cups, like I said, are all about the emotions, the emotional bodies, this nurturing. So not only are you getting this this nurturing mom energy, you're also getting the nurturing father, the really nurturing masculine. So think about like Bob Ross, or think about Mr. Rogers, like that kind of masculinity, of this very like nurturing, calming, loving masculinity is coming in to help heal you, you know. So you have the both of those, right? We all have the masculine and the feminine aspects within us, all beings who live and exist on this planet. And so I feel like that's kind of coming into to give you this sense of wholeness as you move through this cycle and into the new one. Next up, I have 4 cards from the Rider-Waite deck. It's called the Universal Waite Deck, this particular deck version of it. We've got the 8 of Wands. So yeah, this is all, this 8 of Wands talks about a fast-moving energy. I guess I'm a little bit, let me try to move these up a little bit. The 8 of Wands is all about this very swift, fast-moving energy. And so these changes that are coming in, like I said, I feel like you've been working on this stuff for a really long time anyway, but with this full moon, it's saying that that work that you put in and then this new beginning that's coming, it's going to come super fast. Like it's here, it's ready, it's opening as this full moon happens. Bam, 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 you know, I just feel that. Fast, fast, fast. We've got the 3 of Pentacles. So I feel like too, you know, it's like you're rebuilding your foundations. That's really what's going on. And so maybe, you know, maybe you've let go of a lot of things in the past. And so this new beginning is sort of like a, you know, it's a clean slate. You're rebuilding. You're building from the ground up, and it's going to be in a much more harmonious way because, you know, these 3 people have come together to build a cathedral. And this card can also talk about coming together with other people to build something bigger than yourself. So that's another thing about this, is that maybe this is giving you the opportunity, this new slate, you know, as you connect in with your intuition more, you know, maybe it's going to connect you to other people too on the outside who are going through similar things, or, you know, it'll connect you into a situation where you'll be with others to build something greater than any one of you. We've got the Page of Swords, so another new beginning too. This is in the mind, the mental sphere, because of the sword. So that's coming in with that Gemini energy too. And Gemini is really all about talking with people. So, you know, we got this connection energy here too, which is kind of cool. So I feel like communication, it's like you're going to have clear communication. And look at that, High Priestess and the Page of Swords up here. I'm talking about communication. You're going to have communication with the non-physical, especially. So it's like maybe this is coming with a spiritual psychic awakening for you as well, with that water sign here too. Yeah, this deep intuition. You're going to connect deeply to your intuition through this. And in your mind, it's like your mind is going to be clear. As you clear your mind of all of this baggage from your past, of this anxiety, of this stuff that was connected to whatever your negative self-talk as a child is, as you nurture your inner child, as you heal a lot of this stuff, it's like you start to clear up this chatter, you rise above it, and then you connect in to your intuition, and you start to get all these new signs and synchronicities and understandings on this higher level. And then as that, it's like it lines you up to be a part of this thing with other people maybe, or, you know, rebuilding those foundations within yourself. That's powerful. Wow. Yeah. I feel that. Final card is a Chariot. So another swift moving. Wow. So the Chariot is a combination of messages. As this victory, you know, the Chariot can be very victorious. It's a balancing of these seemingly separate forces with the black and white sphinxes. And then it's also about swift moving actions taken as well. And look at that, stars. I just feel like stars. Look at how he's connected into the stars. Like, I feel that energy for you. You might be star seeds. I don't know if you subscribe to the star seed notions at all, but you know, if you do, if it's resonating, I feel a little bit of that energy in here. Yeah, especially with those stars, I'm really feeling drawn to that. It's like you're going to connect into that star energy more too. I see that with the pentacle there too. It's like you're in the stars now, you know. It's like you're connecting into that more than you may have before. sort of awakening. I feel like there's definitely some psychic awakenings coming for you with this full moon, so be open to that. I feel that. Final 2 tarot cards before we get to the oracle cards come from my hand-drawn deck. So we've got the Ace of Cups again. So I said this in the last pile because it also had a double card, but whenever a card comes up twice in the reading, that's the most important card. So that means that's the message from this reading beyond any others. It's the most important takeaway is this new beginning towards your emotional body and your emotional sphere is presenting itself to you at this moment with this full moon. So it's like this full moon, you're going to leave behind any kind of past stuff and really embrace a new start in your emotions. You're going to be much more calm. You know, any kind of inner turmoil that you have experienced in the past, you're ready to let go of it and move into a place of peace and calm, and use that peace and calm as your driver moving forward in life, as your go-to for who you are and what you want for yourself, and that's a beautiful thing. The final card, that's a final tarot card, is the Hierophant. Interesting. So yeah, the pile number 1 got the Hierophant too, but I don't think you're anything like pile number 1, so I wouldn't recommend you watch it. But interesting that it came up twice in this reading. The Hierophant's all about tradition. It's all about like following the bounds of tradition, but a lot of times I tend to use it as a transcending those two. But I think for you, it's sort of like it's tying into that spiritual awakening for me too. The High Priestess and the Hierophant are interesting. They're counterparts. And so a lot of times it's like the High Priestess is this she is spirituality. She's like the unbridled connection to the universe itself, this deeply spiritual sense. Whereas the Hierophant is the religious leader. He's the priest. He is the Pope, as he's depicted. And so he's like the tradition, the spiritual tradition as its dogma and religion kind of a thing. And so they tend to be counterparts of one another in that. But it's that, once again, it's that divine masculine, divine feminine combo that we had with the cups and the wands here. And then we have that again with the black and the white sphinxes. So I definitely feel like there's this interesting balance that's coming for you too with this situation. I feel like it's like you're going to be so balanced on the inside. You are balancing seemingly opposite forces that exist within you. You are healing your feminine and your masculine, and you are coming to the conclusion that you are one whole human being that involves both, right? Like I was saying before, we all have both as a part of us. And one takes healing, a lot of times it's healing the feminine because, our society is working really hard on healing the feminine now because it's been super unbalanced. But you also have to heal the masculine because the masculine's been, pushed into a position that it never really should have been in the first place. So it's like healing both of those things. I feel like there's a little bit of that healing energy kind of coming in here as well. So finally, we've got a couple of oracle cards. So I'm going to read those from the books of each one. The first comes from the Shamanic Healing Oracle, and it is integration. So yeah, integration. That's kind of giving me that combining of those forces and stuff too. So interesting. And we got a snake in there too. So some Kundalini energy, kind of a little bit. We are the sum of all our experiences in this and other lives. We all bring forward a wealth of knowledge, talents, and wisdom. One of the challenges is remembering who we are. We are bombarded every day in every way with messages on who we should be, what we should do, what we should wear, how we should live. These messages coming from the media, society, our family and friends, and even strangers can drown out who we really are meant to be, who we have grown into lifetime after lifetime. Find some quiet moments in your day to identify and start a relationship with that small, strong voice inside you. Pretty soon, you won't hear the other messages. Many times in your interactions with others, you hear that small voice that tells you something is not right. Your logical mind tells you to stop it. Nothing is wrong, stop being silly, dramatic, overreacting. You may ignore your inner voice in a quest to fit in, to be loved or admired. You do not realize that your inner voice is warning you that the other person's energy is not matching their words or actions. Listen to your instincts about this situation or person. All right. So yeah, I do feel like that listening to instincts thing is like really, that's what this is opening up to you, is like this ability to really hone in on your intuition and really trust your intuition moving forward. I think that that's what you're releasing any blockages or hindrances to you directly hearing and listening and moving from your intuition. And I think moving forward in the new cycle that's opening up to you, this new beginning, it's like it's a new beginning towards you intimately connected to your intuition and using your intuition to move forward in life above all else. That it's your intuition that's going to lead you in the direction that you really want to go in, that your higher self wants to go in, that will bring you the most satisfaction and the most happiness in this lifetime. You're opening yourself up to being able to hear that and confidently walk in that direction no matter what. And that's beautiful. Final card you have for your reading comes from Healing with the Angels Oracle cards, and it is Divine Timing. Ooh, cool. So Divine Timing talks about the idea that it's like, you know, everything happens at its perfect moment. So it's like if you feel like, you know, things are taking a lot longer than you would want, or, you know, things aren't working right, or, you know, for whatever reason, it's like things will happen in the right time. So just trust that divine timing is at work in this situation and that all things are happening when they need to. Let me read that. Pay attention to doors that are opening and shutting for you right now. Ooh, that new beginnings and full moons energy. This is perfect. Walk through doors that open and learn from doors that shut. Oh, that's cool. Your prayers are being answered. There is no doubt about that. However, everything operates according to the universal laws of divine timing. This means that certain pieces of the puzzle must first fall into place so that other parts can come to fruition. If you try to skip or rush certain pieces or parts, the whole plan will lack a solid foundation. Ooh, and talking about solid foundations, like remember, you're rebuilding this new foundation. Don't try to force any doors that appear closed to you. Instead, ask your angels and your guides, your spirit team, for guidance to see if the door closed because of negative expectations or if it's simply a sign of divine timing. Look for other doors that do open and walk through them with faith and gratitude. All right, and gratitude is so great. I mean, just as an aside, like, I highly recommend some kind of gratitude practice in your day-to-day because, like, man, having gratitude just like makes everything better and flow better. So, but that's just an aside. Anyway, pile number 3, I think I'm going to leave it there. That was my reading for you. I think that was pretty powerful. Please feel free to let me know what you think of it either way in the comments. I love hearing from everyone. A huge thanks to my 2 Patreon subscribers. I'm so excited to have you joining me. If you would like to join my Patreon crew, feel free to do that at patreon.com/GinoDrome. There's a bunch of options, or a few options for tiers there. And, you know, if you pick the largest tier, what you get is a beginning of the month reading every month where, you know, I'll break down what's going to happen and what you can expect with a reading that you can't get anywhere else. Then we have a mid-month reading to kind of give a recap of where we've been that month, understanding kind of like what we thought was going to happen and then like what actually was happening kind of a thing, and then kind of further looking at what will happen for the rest of that month. And then there is a live video reading where you can talk to me directly. It'll be a group reading that I do live. And then the final thing that you get is mailed in the month. Each month you get one of my tarot cards printed from the tarot deck that I am currently working on, as well as a definition of it that is written by me. And then, yeah, so that's Patreon. If you want a private reading from me, I do have them available on my website. You can check that out at www.junodrome.com. So feel free to let me know what you think on there. And then, yeah, thank you so much for joining me, pile number 3. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon. Bye.